You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. I'm Brandon Piller, joined by Laleem's Martian, the Martian, back with us on the Postcast. And it wouldn't be a Pillsy and Martian Postcast without a depressing loss to get over. Thanks everyone for tuning in to this edition of the Postcast as the Ottawa Senators lose 5-3 to the Buffalo Sabres. So there's your first loss. This is another loss onto a fifth consecutive loss, 5-game losing streak. And on top of that, just for another one, Martian, they lose Anton Forsberg to injury early on in this game. I mean, when it rains, it pours when you're the Ottawa Senators. And I think all of us fans, we've shown our frustration. We've shown our frustration on the show. The people in the chat have. But if you want to really see where this team and franchise is at, take a look back at those shots of Michael Andlauer in the box. And Martian, you tweeted it out. That is the face of buyer's remorse. Just like, what did I get myself into? Michael Andlauer, welcome to your Ottawa Senators years.
Yeah, I mean, and to use a Michael Andlauer quote, he said one time, he said, "I don't know what I did to inherit this." And I feel like, and he was talking, of course, at the time about the Evgeny Dadonov situation and the punishment that came afterwards. But these days, I think he's feeling the same way, but it's a different scenario because the team in front of him that he's seeing, that he owns right now, is driving him through the wall. And I don't know. I'm just a fan. I just watch this team for my own personal enjoyment, which must make me some sort of sicko because they're
right there with
so
us.
Far from enjoying to watch right now. Back they used to have an identity. They don't anymore. It's a whole shit show. But as a guy who just spent close to $1 billion on this team to watch it every day and to put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, I mean, Michael Andlauer is feeling the pain and then some.
Yeah, and maybe that'll help kind of catch him up to the years of sadness, tragedy, and loss that Sens fans have felt. Maybe he'll start to understand it as this season seems to go from bad to worse. And if you look at the game recap here, the Ottawa Senators, this is not a great game for them. Like at no point,
the special teams again, Pilsy.
Yeah, and this is a team, Martian, that is near the basement of the league in special team stats as well. So this should have been kind of a measuring stick game as far as the power play goes, as far as the penalty kill goes. And the Ottawa Senators just can't get anything done. Like I can't really recall any sort of momentum being gained on any of their power plays. And this could look a lot better for the Sabres. It could be better than 1 for 3 for them because one of their goals was scored seconds after their power play ends. So it's essentially on the power play. So the Ottawa Senators, I don't know about you, Martian, but the recurring theme for me in this game is they made it way too easy for Buffalo to get into those high danger areas, most notably Tage Thompson. Now, a guy that's an absolute mutant like Tage Thompson with his size, skill, and speed, he's going to be able to do that to you, but it was just too easy for him and other Sabres players to get into prime scoring opportunities.
Yeah, and Pilsy, for sure, you're absolutely right on that. Because look at this stat chart right here. You look at the block shots for both teams. Look what Buffalo did to Ottawa to make it difficult for them to get pucks through to the net.
Yeah.
28 blocks, Pilsy. That's almost 30. That's basically 30 shot attempts that Ottawa had that were just straight up stopped before they even got the chance to make it to the goaltender. That's huge. Ottawa only had 12 in that category. So, like, right there, for me, you outlined it. Ottawa didn't do enough to get in the way. And it showed. Like, they made it easy for Buffalo. The few chances that they had that they created with basically one-man shows half the time. Tage Thompson had a free walk basically into the shooting lane, and you can't let a guy like that shoot like that. So the Sens just, they're discombobulated, Pills. It's not pretty.
Yeah, word of the day, discombobulated. And they were like that from the start of the game, Martian, with no Josh Norris in the lineup. You lose a centerman like that, that's going to shake up how the lines are drawn up. The Sens, Jacques Martin decides to go 11-7 in tonight's game, which when you lose a centerman like that short notice and you have an extra defenseman anyways and you're on the road, that makes sense. I don't mind that decision. And it ended up showing us at least glimpses of what I thought was the best line tonight. And that was really Greg being rewarded rather for his good play as of late. He gets bumped up to the top line, playing in between Claude Giroux and Brady Tkachuk. How'd you like that line tonight, Martian?
Yeah, I love that line because I love the idea of having Brady Tkachuk, who's obviously a very physical guy, who's maybe not the most fleet of foot, but he's extremely hard on the puck and strong, right? And then you bring in Ridley Gregg, who is kind of like that yin and yang, but in the same category as Tkachuk. He's fast and he's edgy and he's sharp to play against. He doesn't let a single guy get near him within 2 feet without taking a whack or two. So I love Ridley Gregg and Brady Tkachuk together. And then the perfect complement would be Claude Giroux, who had an incredible game tonight with the 2-goal night. He really was giving her out there like that. That tandem. I would say Ridley more so than Brady tonight. I don't know what's going on with Brady. He's a little slower than usual. I don't know There's something there. I don't know if it's mental or physical, but either way, Ridley Gregg had a strong night tonight, and I think he really stepped up to the challenge there. And he was one of the guys that I would say like. I said it previously. I think there's a few guys that I mentioned that would be guys who I think that would thrive under Jacques Martin, and he was one of them because he is a dog. He just wants the puck, and he wants to get after the puck, and he wants to abuse the guy who has the puck. He takes everything on the ice, it seems, personally, and he's clearly young and hungry, and that's an old Sens throwback slogan for you guys right there. But he is young and hungry, and he's giving her out there. That's a guy who's not giving up. He's not feeling the pains of the years past. He's still got a young enthusiasm. And I think the team needs to embody more of that because that's the way they used to kind of play. And now they're just kind of like worn out and beaten down and negative. And it's showing. It's like in their body language, in their just I would look at the fourth goal in particular, right? Like,
oh my God.
I mean, Chychrun for sure. He had played his part in that play when he stepped up on that and just kind of totally, missed and whatever. But for me, looking at that play, it all broke down in the neutral zone. It was Claude Giroux at the red line and it was JBD at the blue line. And the puck was kind of slowly moving towards the blue line in between the two of them. And Giroux was going that way and JBD didn't step up. And then Giroux hesitates and doesn't go. And then I don't know who the Buffalo winger was at the time, but he swooped in, grabbed the puck, gave it to Peyton Krause, boom, goal. It was like, It happened so fast, but it was like that was the kind of breakdown and miscommunication and discombobulation that this team has been going through right now. It's terrible, Pilsy.
Yeah, Martian, I watched that goal, and that's one of the few goals recently where I've actually had a reaction. Recently, it's just been like, okay, Sens get scored on, whatever. But that one, I was like, this cannot be happening. Like, just from top to bottom, just failed assignments left and right. And then Noodles was showing on the replay. We've been praising Matthew Joseph a lot this season, but I mean, that back check, that was classic Xbox controller dies. Like, there's a good gap of like 3-4 seconds where he's not moving his legs at all. And you're a speed guy, get a little pep in your step coming back. And he could have disrupted that play at least a little bit. And then Corpy is so out of position. He's so thrown over left and right that he throws his stick. And it's just like an absolute yard sale of the Sens while the Sabres are celebrating an easy backdoor tap in where they're able to get multiple touches in before they score. Like, that kind of embodied how the Ottawa Senators are looking lately, that goal right there.
Yeah, and like speaking of just the way teams are looking, like as soon as Buffalo came out in that black jersey, I knew we were in trouble.
Yeah, those jerseys are sharp.
Those jerseys are pretty sweet. Like, we got to give them credit. And obviously, guys our age especially and older.
Angry Goat.
You recognize that look for the Buffalo Sabres, and it throws back to some good times, I feel like. And for
especially
Buffalo,
for a Hasek fan like me,
that's the way they especially for you, Bills. But that's the way they should look. And they, I mean, when I saw this jersey, I go, we're screwed. That's I don't know. I know it's superficial, but it means something to me. I tweeted it earlier. I think the Sens should have to go back to the 3D jerseys until they do something, or get back to 500. You can throw the 2Ds back on. I don't want to have so many bad memories associated with this great look.
They're besmirching probably some of their best jerseys that they have here. So that's definitely unfortunate. The Ottawa Senators lose 5-3 here. And this is one of those games too where classic they make it look better on the scoreboard than it actually was, especially with if you know that fifth goal was an empty netter. But Martian, I ask you this every postcast, so I'll ask again. Was there any point at all in this game that you thought the Ottawa Senators might be able to win?
No, I didn't buy it this time.
Not even when Giroux scored that goal to get it close?
I was just about to say, even after the second Giroux goal, I said, you're not getting me this time, boys. I know how this goes. I've seen this movie before. They just – and when was the last time you saw them score when they had the goalie pulled? I think they've done it once in the last, year and a half.
Yeah, they did it
recently.
It was this season, but because it was a big deal. That's why I remember it happened, and I was like, "Oh wow, finally!" But
you could see a little bit of life come back into the team a little bit. And I hate to go back to this, but the camera did go back to Michael Andlauer one more time, and he was standing up all of a sudden. He no longer had his hand in his heads or his. Oh my God, you know what I mean? Head in his hands. And he was standing up. He was right back into it, and I think a lot of people were, but just for me, I couldn't do it this time. I just couldn't buy back in. So no, the answer is no, Pillsy. I never once thought that they were going to get back into this one. As soon as it was 4-1, that was curtains.
Yeah, it really seemed that way, Martian, especially with how bad that goal was. So that's basically the breakdown of this game. But there's unfortunately. The loss is just ho-hum. Another loss. It's the fifth straight for the Ottawa Senators. Another road loss. We're used to this. Kind of the compounding thing on top of that is, sure, the goaltending this year hasn't been good. Korpisalo hasn't been good. They showed the stat right after that fourth goal, Martian. 3 goals on 6 shots for Corpy coming in. Now that's guy coming in cold. It's tough.
His day off.
Yeah, it hasn't been good for him. And then Forsberg, this has been a tough season too. And you hate to see a guy leave the ice like that. So after the break, we're going to get into that discussion a little bit more. Producer Ross threw out a tweet on @SensCentral on Twitter, a vote, a poll. Which goalie of the 3, Mads Søgaard, Kevin Mandalese, and Levi Merilainen, should the Ottawa Senators call up? We'll talk about that poll next. This is the Locked On Senators podcast, the Postcast. The Postcast is brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. You guys already know it. We love the GCP. Go to the GCP. Martian's telling you right now, that is the spot right in the heart of the Glebe, our friendly neighborhood pub. They got great drinks, great food, great service, and just like us, they're Sens fans. They want to get you to Sens games whenever they can, however they can. They're taking you there themselves. Go to theGlebeCentralPub.com and you can check out when the Sens shuttle is. What they'll do is they'll bring you to the game about an hour and a half before. Go to the pub, have some dinner, then Sue, the bus driver, will take you to the CTC. Go enjoy the game, have a couple pops. As Liam's Martian likes to say, it's a bad day to be a Molson. It's a bad day to be a Molson if you're going to the CTC with the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. Then, right after that, Sue will take you right back to the Glebe Central Pub. The bus meets you in the parking lot, and you can keep, hopefully, the vibes going. Or, unfortunately, recently, we've been keeping the venting going, but you can do that as well at the Glebe Central Pub. As Ross likes to say, the vibes are free at the GCP. So visit them at 779 Bank Street and let them know that the Locked On Senators podcast sent you. This episode is also brought to you by Sleeper. If you want to win 100 times your money, play daily fantasy hockey on the Sleeper app. As the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network, Sleeper is our top choice for daily fantasy sports, especially when it comes to hockey. With Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash. What I love about the Sleeper app is they got a great group chat option. You can talk smack to your buddies, let them know you got a good week coming up, and time is money, so entries can be made on Sleeper in less than 1 minute. With studs all over the league, all you got to do is pick your stars based on stats like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more. You heard me, Sens fans. 100 times payouts on Sleeper, so start paying attention and get your picks right so you can win big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Only available for our friends in the U.S. for now. All right, we got Martian in the postcast with me. Pillsy, producer Ross is clicking the buttons here. We're covering another loss, Martian. We're getting very used to this here, but do you want to do? I do believe there are two Sen Central standouts. So, would you like to do our Sen Central standouts? Try to invoke some sort of morale boost to these guys now,
Yeah.
or do you want to get into the goalie discussion? Actually, let's do the standouts now. Then we'll hit the heavy
Yeah,
discussion.
okay. That makes a lot of sense. Why don't you go first, Pilsy? I know you like to always kick it to me first, but I'm going to let you have it.
Oh man, what a great guy over here, Lillian's Martian. If you're handing it to me first, I got to go with Claude Giroux. I mean, this is one of the few guys that, despite the losing, it seems like his effort hasn't really wavered, and maybe he has quieter games than others, but he's still sticking to that same classic, reliable player that we've seen ever since he came to Ottawa. And he gets 2 goals tonight. He's good in the faceoff dot, 70.6%. He plays, I think, almost a team high in ice time as far as forwards go, only behind Brady and Timmy. So this guy's a big impact for this team, and he was brought in to be a leader, and he's got to be one of the guys they rely on here to continue to have consistent play so other guys can kind of look to him as an example. I'm talking most notably about Timmy and be like, hey, the losses are piling up here, but we got to have the process and being consistent and being a pro and not letting emotions get the best of you. That's something that Timmy needs to learn. And in my opinion, not many better players in the league to kind of show that calm, cool, collected attitude like Claude Giroux. So look, not a lot of bright spots in this game, but Claude Giroux continues to show why he was brought to this team to kind of be the main veteran presence, and he can still put up points. He's not just a grizzled vet back there. So got to give him a standout, Martian.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he's for sure the first guy you should go to on this one, because he was probably the only one who just didn't give up tonight. You know, you could just tell. He was just not having it. He was like, I don't want to lose this game, so I'm going to put everything I have into this. I'm an almost 36-year-old man. I'm playing with a bunch of early 20-year-old guys. I got to show these guys what's up here. Like, this is how you do it. You bear down. You play as hard as possible, and good things will happen for you. And they happened for him tonight. And I completely agree with you, Pilsy. He had a really good night tonight. I mean, that second goal, he just unloaded that thing. He just said, screw this puck.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm firing this thing as hard as possible. So yeah, good for him. That was good shit from Claude Giroux.
Absolutely. Who is your Sen Central standout, brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub?
Yeah, and for me, it's a guy who's on the same line. It's Ridley Gregg, and that's a young player who's from the same draft as Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson. And he was the Senators. I would go out on a limb here. I would say he was their second best player on the ice tonight, besides Claude Giroux. He got elevated to that top line, and he delivered. I feel like his tenacity on the puck and his physical play. He had a really nice check early in the game. I'm not sure if you saw that. He kind of snuck up on a guy from his blind side from behind and just got rid of it, and he just gave him a good one, right? And it was just a perfect hit. That was really Greg. And the funny thing about him too, when he's playing, I feel like his other teams don't really know how big of a shithead he really is. And then
they're learning.
Snaking around, he flies under the radar very nicely. So I like that. He had 18 minutes out there, which got to be close to a career high for him. He had the 1 assist. He had 3 hits, 2 shots on goal. Ridley Gregg had a nice night tonight. Very nice night. As his first kind of debut on a top line, which is not something that I ever thought I'd say.
Yeah, for real. And I just really feel like ever since Ridley was called up, him and Giroux had this like connection. Like, I remember feeling like last year, like Giroux was like Ridley Gregg's uncle, like his Philadelphia connection uncle. And they had like Giroux wanted to get Ridley his first goal so bad. So I think having Ridley play on a line with Giroux now is going to up his game even more.
It's a little extra motivator for him, right?
Big time. Yeah. Or at least it seems that way. So look, like you mentioned, I did not envision Ridley Gregg playing on the top line, but I want to see more of this, because with Norris out, who knows how long, that looked like something that could have affected his shoulder, that injury up against Calgary. So we don't know how long he's going to be out for. And Timmy, in some kind of insane slump here. I don't mind elevating a guy like Ridley Martian. Let's I know you have some words to say about Tim Stutzle's play as of late, so I'll let you go off here.
I'm just saying, dude, like, I honestly, not really. I'm not going to say too much about it because I think that would be a drastic overreaction in a lot of ways. I think you see something like, I mean, we all know Tim Stützle is a top player in this. Like, he is a top player in this league. Definitely. He's so skilled. He's so good. He's in a slump. It happens to a lot of players.
This has been a long slump. I would say even past when Jacques Martin came. Certainly since Martin's been here, but even past that, Timmy's been slumping.
I mean, yeah, and maybe Martin is part of the problem for him, right? Like, maybe he's putting additional pressure on him to do things on the other side of the puck that maybe he wasn't being told to do before, which was completely possible. But I never saw Timmy as like a guy who cheated on the wrong side of the puck before. It's just these days it's more his his spatial awareness when he's in his own end with the puck. You know, he's coughing it up a lot, which is time. Like, I mean, dude, like, you're so good. You should be able to dish off to the off man and, you know, get out of trouble a little easier. But he's just trying to do too much out there. I don't think I don't think it's that big of an issue. He's in a bit of a slump. Whatever, say what you will. It's not that all of a sudden he's just a bad hockey player. That's not the case. He's still so sick. He just needs to figure himself out. He's having a hard time. He's a young man. You know, he's been in Ottawa for 3 years. They've sucked the entire time. They still suck really bad. Expectations were high. He's supposed to be a 100-point guy. He's not going to get there. So he's putting too much pressure on himself, I feel like, right now. And that's probably what's happening there. I think Timmy just needs to take a deep breath, play Tim Stützle's game. You've seen him at all levels do what he does, and he's going to keep doing it no matter what. And this little thing that's going on right now, it's terrible to watch, but it's not going to continue. There's no way. He'll snap out of it.
I'm hoping so. And obviously, look, it's Tim Stützle is a superstar. Like, I'm not trying to say that all of a sudden he's not that guy anymore. But the issue, Martian, is I don't think Timmy believes he's that guy right now. And he doesn't have that confidence and swagger. And it just seems to be when it rains, it pours. Like, it's back-to-back games now where it's tough. It's back-to-back games now where he's had a brutal turnover just trying to hold the puck, and it results in the other team scoring an empty net goal. So it's been tough for Timmy here, and we're going to pull up Jacques Martin. Last postcast, we listened to the post-game comments as a collective group for some group therapy. So we'll see if hearing Jacques Martin can help us out here. Hit the clip, Ross.
Can you first start with an update on Anton Forsberg?
Well, it's it's a groin injury, so we'll get more news tomorrow. I think he'll get an MRI tomorrow, and we'll find out more on his condition.
Did you get a sense that the team was rattled at all? And I know the injuries are part of the game here, and players are accustomed to it. But did you get that sense?
You mean when he got injured?
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, that's we gave up the goal. I mean, shortly after, and on a shot. But I like the way we came back. I thought that we made some mistake that cost us goals, but I like the way we rallied in the third period. I think it was a good confidence for the guys. You play the right way and you keep pressure on that defense, you're going to get some turnovers and get some scoring opportunities from it. And we probably had some chance to tie it, but I think we got to keep learning.
I was going to say, if you had a chance to bottle that third period, you probably would and play the rest of the season like it. Was there anything said at the end of the second period to get your team to play that way?
Yeah, I think, like we talked about, supporting each other and, making sure that, we leave all we have, on the ice, give ourselves a chance. I mean, you can't feel sorry for yourself. You got to go out there and compete and be at your best.
Coach, after a tough road trip, can a trip home in front of
how was that road trip
to kind of turn this around a bit?
Well, I
Yeah.
think we have to. I mean, like, we just got to regroup. I know it's not much time, but hey, be good to play in front of our fans. And I think our fans are knowledgeable
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
fans, and we play hard. They'll respect that.
There is Jacques Martin, and he's probably going to get pretty sick of finding ways to talk about this team losing. But the message stays the same, Martian. It's, hey, we can't feel sorry for ourselves. We got to stay out there. We got to compete. We got to be professionals, and hoping that some home cooking up against the worst team in the NHL. Now, a team that just beat the Montreal Canadiens to snap a 12-game losing streak, but hopefully, coming back from the road, coming home, Saturday afternoon game up against a bad team can spark some life into this Senator squad.
I mean, yeah, you gotta hope so. You gotta feel for the people who bought season tickets this year, feeling like they're,
Big
this is
time.
the year. I'm going to invest in this team now while they're young, before they do what they're supposed to do. And it doesn't look like this year was the year after all. So, I mean, at the very least, home games are important because you have fans in the building now. It's not like it used to be when the rebuild, when there was 10,000 people in there, 11,000, whatever, like super low numbers.
Yeah.
They've got fans supporting them who are there, so you can't let those people down who spent their good hard-earned money, blue-collar people who are out here, and you gotta show them some effort, right? You gotta that at the end of the day, like, this community needs, we want that, right? That's so important. I feel like for like city morale and everything. So, the Sens need to buckle up and get ready to play at home, and that's all it is. It's like, dude, you've lost 5 games in a row. It's like, get out there and put everything on the line. Just see if you can win one here.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, let's start with that.
At least for the fans. So for me, that's where I'm at on that. I'm not going to go. There's no chance I'm going to do that. So they can. There's lots of people who will be doing it, but like for me, I'm just like, no chance. I'm spending my time doing that on Saturday.
I'm pretty sure it's Star Wars night, Martian. I feel like that's kind of on brand for you. The Alien Martian Star Wars night. Come on, man.
Yeah, and Star Wars night is a fun time. Don't get me wrong. I've been there before. They break out the lightsabers, the glow sticks that look like lightsabers. The Sens really lean into the red and the Sith side of things, which is, I'm cool with that. Like, embrace that. Who knows who the bad guy really is in that show? I think there's a whole thing to that. So for me, it's, like, lean into that and have a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun time. It's a matinee, so I think that there will be a lot, good young crowd, and it's, a good way to kick off your Saturday. So for me, I'm cool. I'm cool not going, but there'll be times where I'm a little jealous, possibly because it's Star Wars night.
Martian, I'm cool not going. The Ottawa Senators home games. We'll do this.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I may be doing this for their benefit because my record right now, I haven't seen a win since the home opener. I'm 1-7.
I can't put too much of that on you, Martian. This team,
and I even tried to go and see them on the road in Vegas. No chance. No.
Yeah, the road games are tough. Man. Take it from me. We'll get to.
We might have to go down to Belleville for a game, man.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle. It's kind of between the two of us.
I'm down to meet for a game in Belleville, Martian, and that leads perfectly to where I want to take this, because we're not going to be the only ones looking to Belleville soon here, Martian, because with Anton Forsberg likely out for a while, Brandon Piller, not a doctor, but I mean, my goodness, that looked very not good. So you're going to have to call up a goalie, and you're going to have to call up a goalie for a decent amount of time here. Now, Ross put on Twitter @SensCentral, which goalie would you call up and why? Through 575 votes, Mads Søgaard has 38.4% of the votes, the majority. Kevin Mandolese, 28.5%. And just barely behind Søgaard is Levi Merilainen with 37%. So this is a close poll here. Martian, I'm going to snap this over to you.
Yeah.
What was your answer?
Yeah, so before I even get started here, I'm going to give credit to producer Ross for the poll.
Nice.
I know he would he would be giving himself tire pumps for a great poll here. So got to give him credit on this one. You could go either way here, and there's logic behind all three of these guys, right, Pilsy? So nobody who voted on this poll is wrong in any way. But I got to say, I was influenced by Ross and his theory on not disrupting what's going on in Belleville and leaning towards bringing up Levi Merrilainen directly from the ECHL to the NHL and leaving Mando and Sogar where they are. Now, that sounds crazy because you got to reward the guy who's been playing really well in the AHL, and this doesn't seem like it's going to be a short-term thing. But I think in the long run, for a guy like Sogaard's development, leaving him in the AHL to develop and win, and you don't want to bring him into this shit show right now, and he'll just become the same way the rest of these guys are with losing. And it's all of a sudden losing is normal, which is not where you want to be. He's in a winning environment right now in Belleville. He's doing so well down there. He's ripping off wins left and right. The boys are having a great time. I'm sure he's in no rush to get into the NHL, right? He's enjoying his time with Belleville. So let's just leave him and Mando there. I heard a little bit of talk about that, using Mando as the backup. He's already backing up, and it doesn't make sense. Whatever. Ride Korpisalo into the ground and mix in Levi Merrilainen. That's the way I see it. If Forsberg's going to be along for that long, or he's going to be out for that long, then that's the way I feel about it. Bring up Levi, let him back up. He's playing in the E anyways. He'd rather be getting the NHL paycheck and being up. It'll help his morale too. He's not where he wants to be. Let's be honest. So get him up, and then let those guys chill in Belleville. They're having a good time, and they're winning. And just ride Korpisalo. He's getting paid. Why not? He wants to. I'm sure he wants to play every game anyway. So.
Yeah, this season is a little different situation than last year because you will have Korpisalo, a guy that's getting paid as a starter here. It's not just a complete gong show where Matt Sogaard and Kevin Mandolese are the only options here. A lot of people in the chat saying bring up Mando for Star Wars night. That's a fun idea. You could definitely do that. But if you're looking at a long-term solution, Martian, I kind of agree with what you said. None of these answers are really wrong, but then I have a hard time deciding which answers of these are right. I feel like either way you can go, you can spin zone it one way or another. Now, Matt Sogaard is having a great season down in Belleville. He's coming off a shutout up against the Manitoba Moose. And for the season, he's at a 248 goals against and a 920 save percentage. So some of his best numbers since coming over to North America. But where I worry about Matt Sogaard, Martian, and this is what I've been kind of weary of, is the Ottawa Senators did not do a good job handling Philip Gustafsson's development. And he didn't have the opportunity to play over 100 games. He played 95 games in the American Hockey League. Now, Jeff Merrick kind of has a saying, he wants to see a goalie get 100 games in the American Hockey League before they're really relied upon in the NHL. And I kind of think that's a good number to have there. And Gustafsson wasn't able to hit that number. He was up and down, left, right. And he even said it when he got to Minnesota. He's like, when I was in Ottawa, I had no clue what was going on. And I just don't want Mads to get in a spot where he's someone that he's been up and down through the NHL and he hasn't always been able to have consistency. He's had some injuries, so he's feeling it right now. So taking him out of Belleville and a positive situation where I believe they're 7 straight wins. So and Mads has been a big part of that. Taking him out of the equation for a long time to bring him into this suck fest, this hot garbage that is the Ottawa Senators, when he already did that last year. And, he was put in positions that weren't really fair to him. And he put a lot of that emotionally on himself. I don't think bringing him is the best answer long-term. So I don't think it's that great. Like Levi Merrilainen, he played last year. I think some people forget he was in Liga. So he played over 40 games in a professional league. Now, obviously, Liga very different than the NHL, obviously. But at least Merrilainen has had a few games of NHL experience notched on his belt. You got an awkward spot with 3 goalies right now anyways. I don't think Levi Merrilainen envisioned going from playing as a starter in the pro league in Finland to playing and riding a bus with the Allen Americans. So I don't think it's the craziest idea to give him the first opportunity and keep things how they are in Belleville. At least give him a chance to not disrupt anything. If it's not working, then you can bring up Mando or Mats.
Yeah, and I think producer Ross was doing great outside of the box thinking with that one, right? Like bringing up Carolina and not disrupting Belleville is smart because the Belleville goalies are working in tandem right now too, right? Like Sogard's got 3 of the 7 wins on this win streak, and Mando's got the other 4. So it's not like he's not playing either. He's an important part of that team, and you guys know him better than I do. But I mean, he's a locker room guy. You can't just remove him from the mix. That's going to bring down morale. We don't want to see that. So let the young guys in Belleville keep trucking. I saw Yarventi went down with a bit of an injury in the last game. I haven't seen an update on that, but he's been their best. He's been essentially their best player other than Angus Crookshank lately, right? So
yeah, he has been good, and Igor's really bounced back this segment of the season.
Yeah, the last couple of games, Igor's been buzzing, right? He had a game-winning assist and a goal in that game as well, right? So he was buzzing on their last one too. Good to see because he's only got 9 goals in the season here. And that's a guy he's basically on pace for the same amount of goals he scored last season, but you'd like to see him take it another step. Like, I mean, for me, I'm looking at Igor. I'm like, this should be a 40 goal guy in the A.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the goal scoring definitely has slowed down for Igor, but I think that's happened a little bit, Martian, because he's really worked on rounding out the rest of his game. So I think you're going to lose a bit of that elite goal scoring when you're focusing more defensively. But yeah, I agree. I want to see Igor continue to put the puck in the back of the net, and he's feeling good. He had a 6 celly on one of his most recent goals, so he's feeling himself.
He loves to celebrate, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Now would be a good time to do a little teaser too, because Family Day in Belleville, they're going to be wearing a jersey that I helped design, so which is pretty cool. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to see those guys skate around in a jersey with a logo that I made, which is so cool.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that. You've shown us the design behind the scenes, and you put a lot of work into that. So everybody, make sure if you're looking for something to do with the kids on Family Day, go check out the Belleville Senators, a team that is actually good at hockey, and you're going to get to see them play in some slick uniforms designed by ours truly at Leams Martian. So definitely go check that out. The design is sweet. Martian has a lot of fun with it for sure. Martian, we'll end on this because we've been going for a while here, and the chat's been awesome yet again tonight. We've had a lot of deep group therapy and good discussions on the goaltending. I'm interested to see how that poll goes as it stays alive on Twitter. Go have your say at Sen Central right now. Martian, your son, Tyler Boucher, finally back on the ice, and he's playing with the Belleville Senators. And sure, maybe he hasn't stuffed the stat sheet, but he's got a goal, an assist, and his first fight. And the team's been flying ever since he's got into that dressing room.
Yeah, I mean, what's the record with him in the I think it's 1-7-0. So he might be
7-1-0.
7-1-0.
You don't want to be 1-7-0. You're thinking of the Ottawa Senators.
Obviously, yeah, no, they have 7 wins and 1 loss with him in the lineup, so it's nice to see for sure. Yeah, I'm happy that he's playing games again, so that's all that really matters. But as long as he stays healthy, he'll figure it out. He'll get it going. He's man, I like his tools. Honestly, I like I said, I've said it 100 times. I don't need to keep doing it because I've said my piece on Tyler Boucher. I believe he's going to be a decent player. I'm not saying he's going to be a fucking NHL all-star, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
There's one for the swear jar.
Sorry, Ross. That was my bad.
Swear jar. I mean, and if you're looking at Tyler Boucher, you just got to be excited that he's back playing hockey. Like even the haters, I know there's a weird corner of Sen's Twitter that enjoys kind of watching his setbacks and doesn't want him to succeed. A wild mindset to have for someone that hopefully can help out the Ottawa Senators. Good kid, Tyler Boucher, great dad as well. Brian Boucher has been on the show a bunch. Both of them have, so we're rooting for them for sure. But it's just nice to see Tyler back playing hockey. Like that's the number one thing because this guy's got to get back on the ice, and we got to get that development going.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, he can't choose where he was drafted. Right? He can't choose what position he was drafted in. That's all it is. It's like the expectations are a little high on him because he was drafted 10th overall. But again, I do think he's going to end up being a good NHL player. He's got 3 points in 8 games or whatever it might be, maybe 9 games now. It's not a terrible pace. Like if he gets a couple of goals and he mixes in physically, he's doing his job out there. And I think the organization will recognize what he's doing.
Talk about playing physically and doing your job out there. Tyler Kleven has looked really good down in Belleville recently. He's laying out the hits. He's looking better every day. And look, I know there's a lot of people that, especially with the effort we saw from this decor from the Ottawa Senators tonight, there's a large crowd of Sens Twitter that's like, okay, the season's over. Call up Kleven. Let's get this going. But again, I like the idea of letting him marinate in the minors a little bit and not having him exposed to what's going on here. Especially, I feel like a guy like Tyler Kleven, like I want him to have a more seamless transition into pros hockey, because when he played in the NHL, we didn't see that physicality or meanness kind of at all. He was timid to put himself out of position. Obviously, you're going up against bigger, stronger men than you were at Nodak. So I think figuring out how to play his physical game in the AHL is the perfect spot for him right now.
Yeah, and he can get away with more than he got away with in college in the AHL too, right? He's playing against men, like you said, but also like I think when he came into the NHL, he was probably a little bit shocked about how fast it was too, right? I mean, college is a great level, but going straight from college into the NHL, which is what he did, like that can be probably a bit of a shock, especially when you notice all of a sudden you're not playing against a bunch of 21-year-olds and you're playing against guys who are like in their 30s and they're fully built, right? They might be shorter than him, but they're strong and they're solid. So just running into them the way he always did in college is not going to work for him, right? Physics all of a sudden isn't on his side as much as it always has been. So it was good on him actually to recognize that and not find himself trying to make a big open ice hit and either, getting reverse hit and looking like a fool, which can easily happen to a big, tall, lanky defenseman, right?
Yeah.
Especially when they're playing like that. And then, just having the guts to, or the knowledge, using his brain to know that he's not going to be able to make that hit and just defending, right? And being in position. And that's just as important as anything. So I think he did a great job in his early stint there. And I'm a big Tyler Kleven fan.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I don't think he did well in the NHL. I just thought for kind of to unlock the potential that we think he can have as a physical defenseman, I just think it's going to take time. And like, it's not like this team is in a playoff push and needs an extra defenseman right now. Like, I don't want to see the development of these guys that you put so much draft capital in rushed just for the sake of panicking or trying to do too much too soon.
No, yeah, they're all in the right places right now. I think those younger guys. So I think, yeah, for him, he's perfectly set in the AHL to spend some time developing down there.
Yeah, and while the Belleville Senators are racking up W's, might as well have Tyler Kleven, Mando, Mads, Crooker, Igor, all these guys. They might as well continue to have success down there because that's a team that's finally clicking. Unlike your Ottawa Senators, who fall again on the road. The road woes continue as, what's their road record now? 4-14, I believe it is. So this team is just terrible on the road, and 2 of those wins come in Toronto. So really a 2-14 record outside of Ontario. But luckily, they're heading back home to your nation's capital in Ottawa to play at the CTC up against the worst team in the NHL, the San Jose Sharks. Like Martian mentioned, it's a matinee game, Star Wars night. If you're looking for something to do with the kids, get them out to the CTC. I think the Sens are going to have a statement game here, and maybe it's just one statement game, but this is an opportunity for guys to get cookies and have some bounce back games. So I'm looking forward to that game, Martian, even if I'm obviously not going to be in attendance and you're not going to make it either. It still has an opportunity to be a fun game here.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can't go out here and say that there's for sure a chance the Sens are going to, there's a chance the Sens are going to win this game, but I don't know they're going to win that game.
Not confident.
That's the scariest thing about this whole situation right now. They're in the doldrums.
I think this, it's hilarious, but this is for a team that's out of it, this is a must-win game, just morale-wise. Like, if this now becomes your 6th straight loss and you lose to the San Jose Sharks at home,
Yeah,
I mean,
that would not be good.
I don't like. There's no more ideal situation to try to turn things around.
I think what we do is we just hammer the Sens puck line, and we just lean right into it. We're gonna smoke them. Everybody believe we're gonna smoke them. Law of attraction. If the more of us that are thinking about it happening, the better the odds of it happening. I think we just lean right into that. We just put our minds together and just come together and make sure that the Sens don't lose. Just the Sens are going to crush the Sharks on Saturday, right? Right?
Yeah, I hope so. I'll be doing looking at FanDuel for that. Hopefully get some green shekels. And here's the
no way they lose that game. Pillsy, there's no way they lose.
Well,
right?
Scopa saying must lose for number 1 pick. And the next comment is our guy, Sens fan and Van, agreed, must win. So we don't know whether we're losing or winning games here, but
Dude,
what I do know
on Saturday.
It's the garbage bowl, it's the toilet bowl, whatever bowl you prefer. It's that. Martian, it's been a tradition now. We do the spin.
No,
you guys, we're doing it. We're doing the spin. Even though Ross isn't here, the chat will let me know. We want the spin. We have to be doing spins now. We're in spin territory here. So I'm going to do 1 spin for me, 1 spin for you, 1 spin for the citizens here. Producer Ross is MIA right now, possibly working on his actual job. So I'm going to try.
We don't have to do it then. That's fine.
No, I'm going to try to share the screen here. Let's see if this works.
It's not working.
Got me?
Yeah, yes, but you need to switch tabs. Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. This spin, this is for me right here. Hate that so much. The Buffalo Sabres not only get the win tonight, but they move up from 6th to select 1st overall. Okay, we're going to hit reset on that. Martian, you let me know when to hit it.
That was just a tough bounce. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Spin that.
Okay, also not good. 2 Eastern teams. Columbus 1st overall, Montreal 2nd overall. That is terrible. Citizens.
I don't want to do this anymore.
I can't see the chat right now, but I'm doing this for you guys. 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Citizens. Okay, that is also not good. The Minnesota Wild end up getting the 1st overall pick there. This team can't even lose properly. We can't even get the spins right. This is ultimate sadness.
I don't like that we're doing that already.
We are cursed here.
We're not going to do that for 4 more months, right, buddy?
What do you mean? This team is in almost last place.
We're
doing spins.
Let's just leave the tankathon alone for a while.
I was at your place, Martian, but what's that quote? I've become submissive to the spins.
What's the difference if we spin it now and then we spin it in like 2 months? Like let's just give that a break.
We're hitting panic buttons. We're hitting tankathon spins. It's the Postcast. We vent or we vibe. We've been venting, and so Liam, Martian, and I, we've done our venting here, and we couldn't do it without the company, Misery Loves Company, of you guys, the citizens in the chat. Over 261 people here. The chat's been buzzing all session long here, so we thank you. For myself, Brandon Piller, for Liam Martian, for producer Ross working the boards, for our sponsors, the Glebe Central Pub, for all you citizens, thank you for listening and tuning in to another edition of the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. We'll be back with another episode of the Locked On Senators podcast tomorrow, wherever you get your podcasts. It's the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.